What's up, everybody? This is Music Sucks and I Want to Die. I'm Jake.
I am Matt.
This is our 41st episode, and I'm excited.
I got something to say about that.
Word. Okay, that's a good joke. I actually, this is a brief aside, like
Nope,
Sum 41.
no,
Yeah,
no.
I did. I'm not super proud of it. I didn't mind that much. I listened to Sum 41 when I was in high school, or like late middle school.
Well, that's a good segue because that's what we're going to talk about today. Music we like.
Oh, yeah, but we're not talking about Sum 41.
Sum 41 edition.
Oh, cool.
We're going to play 41 Sum 41 songs.
Brace yourselves. It's going to be a long one.
I don't know if they have 41 songs.
So, in case you don't have a grasp on sarcasm, we are literally never playing Sum 41.
You say that now.
Yeah, that's true. On this podcast.
10 years in, we're like, well,
Scraping the bottom
Sum
of the fucking
41.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so we are here to talk about music we like.
Yes.
This is a recurring series we've done. This is our third one. Basically how it works, for a refresher, for those of you who aren't rabid fans, Matt and I each pick two groups, artists, bands, whatever, that we are interested in, and we try to display to you and each other why we're into them.
I think it's a nice thing for us because usually we just talk shit.
And then get hit, yeah.
Although I do believe you're going to talk a little shit about one of these bands
Yep.
later.
And, but tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, it is the name of our podcast. We can't just be all like butterflies.
Exactly. There, you can find the cringe everywhere.
But yes, this is just more of our personal taste, not trying to be edgelord, like obscure.
Right.
Only listen to blah, blah, blah albums. Just like shit we like.
Yeah.
Shit we talk about. And let's jump in.
Fired up. I believe it's your turn to go first.
It is my turn to go first.
Hell yeah. What do you got for us?
I have a band called Pixies.
Oh, word. The Pixies.
And Jake, it is not the Pixies, it's Pixies.
Oh, my bad. Okay. I'm definitely not going to fuck that up 45 times.
I don't think any other band has this. Like, is there another band that's...
Yes.
What?
Buggles.
Are they Buggles?
Yup. They are not
I thought they were
They are Buggles, not the Buggles. And it's funny because I talked about on the first ever episode that we deleted from the internet because it's terrible. I mentioned for our listening of the week, I did Buggles and I said the Buggles and I was deeply ashamed for the rest of my
I had
life.
no idea.
Yeah.
Well, hey, next time, tune into our next episode, Buggles and Sum 41. Deep dive.
Oh my God. How deep do you go with Sum 41? Where's the...
At least down to Sum 42. I don't know.
Okay.
Pixies. Pixies, actually one of my favorite bands of all time. Extremely influential to me as a music listener and professional podcast music brewer. I'm going to play mostly shit from their first couple albums. They do have a new album coming out soon, apparently. Not going to listen to it. They fired Kim Deal, or she left like 4 albums in, and...
So like in the early 90s or like what?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
I don't know. To me, she is just a very integral part of the sound, and it's kind of a thing. I don't know. There's like these bands or artists where, like, you need that editor. You know what I mean?
The voice of reason,
something like just reining it in a little. You know,
Yeah.
Frank Black, the main lead singer and everything of the Pixies, I think is like amazing, great. There is a pretty big decline when she leaves the band, and it's a lot of him. He's a weirdo. But you need some grounding with that.
Yeah,
you know.
You have to have some control.
So anyway, I'm only playing the early stuff because that's the good shit anyway.
Yeah.
But I do also want to talk about their huge influence on sort of creating the alternative rock sound, sort of certain tropes that became kind of standard through the 90s
because of
2000s,
the Pixies.
among other bands. But yeah, Pixies were one of the bigger ones for sure. And also just how fucking weird they are, and it's odd that they are like so famous because they're bizarre for a rock band.
I feel like there were a couple of those.
There were.
Yeah, like I get the Smiths weren't quite as weird.
No, I would say there wouldn't be like a Mr. Bungle without Pixies.
Oh, okay.
Like that
I could
kind
feel
of
that,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like they definitely
Paved.
Yeah, I mean there's rock bands have been doing kind of weird, but they're
weird.
their sound is bizarre,
Yeah.
but also straightforward. Okay, we're starting with their first song off their first album, Surfer Rosa. This is Bone Machine.
Word.
So,
I wonder if they just like asked themselves the questions like, what would happen if the snare was on 1 and 3?
So yeah, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about this, and this is prevalent through this whole album. As far as like sort of the tropes that became a standard 90s, 2000s rock kind of thing, that on the next album you hear it a lot more, but kind of that bigger drum sound, that kind of like not the 80s big, it's like a different.
No, the toms are huge.
Yeah.
They're very reverberant, but not like in a fake giant artificial stadium way.
Exactly. That prominent, and then the bass, kind of those eighth notes, driving kind of thing. The weird sort of like trebly guitar lead kind of like it's not really like it's not like a Van Halen lead. It's different.
It's sharper.
It's different than it's more like, double stop like kind of thing. It's not really like a melody. It's like a part kind of thing. You know what I mean? These things I think became like really prominent in like grunge and stuff, where it was you still had the cool guitar parts, but it wasn't the same as hair metal guitar parts or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then on top of that, there's just the weird ass vocals happening that like. I don't know what's happening. Going like,
it was cool, man.
But it's this thing that they capture so well, which is like sort of that purposeful sloppiness.
Yes,
you know what I mean. It's like I think that was rehearsed really well to give off that like how off they are from each other, like a little bit.
It did seem that way, especially with that. What's the recurring line he says twice that I forgot already? When you're prettier when you stay faithful.
Yeah.
Like he says it in the same rhythmic spot twice, right? And that definitely gives off a vibe that it's definitely intentional.
I think so. His delivery is super unique.
Yes, very cool.
I guess it's because you're playing that stupid symphony gig, but it feels Dylan-esque in a way.
Yeah.
Like influenced by, I guess maybe more Lou Reed, but Lou Reed was very influenced by Dylan, so there's that kind of thing. Tom Waits in there maybe too.
Oh yeah. I love Tom Waits.
But like, I don't think you really had that in this style before. Like, just so outside of like, hey, I'm singing a song. It's like, no, you're spitting bullshit. I don't really like. It's very strange shit. But I wanted to go on to a big part that I love about them is Kim Deal's influence, the bass player / singer.
I mean, even at the end of that clip, that little harmony line at the top was very nice.
It's very grounding. I think that
very
like
cadential. Yeah,
yes,
very cool.
It is, and I think like it's her parts and also her influence is kind of a very big balancing factor. I like it too when she like kind of pops up a little more, which we'll listen to in a second here. The other thing I wanted to say was I forget. So, hey, moving on.
Yeah! We are real professionals here at Music Sucks, and I Want to Die.
Song, I'm sure.
Yeah.
This is from the same album. This is River Euphrates.
Okay. Love it.
Yeah.
I really like, so it's an F sharp, yeah. I like it when the guitar up top like gets to the D sharp, that sixth. It's very strange.
It is. I guess this is one of those bands where it's like they're not, like all the parts are not unheard of.
No.
But it's like this weird collection and this weird cohesion that happens with
Yeah.
it. And the production on this album is like kind of crap, but it works in that sense too, though. Like, I think
this is what people refer to when they think of like garage rock sound.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but it's actually good.
Well, and this is also like the very beginning of like indie music as well. And you can really hear that.
Absolutely.
I think. The thing I was going to say on the last line, I remembered.
Here we go.
Also, another trope is the girl bass player who sings, which was like every fucking 90s band after this.
Really?
Yes, which doesn't really have anything to do with the music, but it was a big.
It's a thing?
It's a thing.
It's a real thing.
They also, I think, again, these are all things that have happened before, but sort of this balance between the sweet poppiness of, like, say, the beginning with the la-di-da-di-da-di-da, and then, like, the weird... Yeah. You know, I mean, that became a big thing in grunge as well and things like that. And it has happened before, but just... I just feel this very, like, push-pull in this song, like, their music in general, where it's still a cohesive song, but I think one of the, like, there's a few bands like I like this, but like they really are like each member has a very prominent part in this.
Sure.
Like a lot of rock bands, it's just like, you know, cool riff, big drums, vocals, or whatever. And I don't know, there's just so many like moving pieces. Like
There's more interplay.
Yeah, and they go in and out, and they don't always make sense, but it still kind of works out to be a good song at the end. I don't know.
Yeah. I definitely can feel what you're talking about. I'm having a hard time expressing it into better words than we are currently doing.
Yeah, weird.
That's why we listen to music and we don't speak in front of
Not
people.
a lot needs to be said about Pixies. They're obviously one of the most influential bands
Yeah,
of all time.
they're talked about constantly by people more eloquent than us.
Exactly. But let's jump ahead to their next album.
Before you do that,
Yep.
I did want to point out just like a couple brief things I heard in there. So when guitar lines land like they do, like in the song where they're off kilter, bizarre, but they have, I guess, this kind of shape to them that really works. You land at a good spot. You have attention to where you're going and where you're coming from. It always brings me back, and obviously this is 10 years before, but it always reminds me of like the lead lines of the Dead Kennedys.
I mean, obviously punk was a huge influence on this band, for sure. And Dead
Kennedys was not 10 years before.
No, they were actually
pretty close.
fairly. Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Interesting. Anyway,
it's well, especially as we'll hear next too, I think. But they smoothed out that like Dead Kennedys kind of punk thing in a way, but not in a way that was lame. It's hard to describe because it's more approachable,
but it still has
kind of.
It's like almost the same amount of edge though.
It is. It's really weird.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know another band that really sounded that bizarre, but still like made it listenable in that sense. Like there's a lot going on, but it's also on the surface. Like, well, I think this is the biggest Kurt Cobain influence too. Is like Kurt Cobain was writing like pop songs. He loved the Beatles. Like he was writing that shit. But then it was like the whole grungy, edgy, fuzzy guitars, bass and drum kind of thing. And he obviously like smoothed that out even more. But I think this was a very big part of that, of just sort of like surface level. It sounds fine, but then it's like, wait, what's happening? What?
Yeah,
there's like I don't know.
And one more thing I wanted to say, which probably makes no sense, but for some reason when I was listening to this clip you just played, I could not get Weezer out of my head.
I mean, again, they were
alt
influenced.
Yeah. 2000s alts.
Yeah, yep.
I just like the tone of the guitar, kind of the, not clumsiness, but the non-centeredness of the vocal part.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the indie sound that ended up becoming super like corporate and watered down.
And got weezered,
And Sub Pop is in the airport now. And all that, but once upon a time, it was actually pretty cool.
This is working out for me.
So we're going to move on to the next album, Doolittle. And this is when they got more famous and got a professional studio and producer.
Nice.
It's so much cleaner. But I think here's where you start really hearing like how much it influenced other bands afterwards. Specifically the whole Nirvana thing and other grunge bands as well, where they have the there's like a term like that they use for this, but the quiet verse, loud chorus kind of thing.
Dynamics.
I mean, yeah, but there was like such a trope with grunge where everyone's just like, oh, it's like melodic, clean verse, and then heavy guitar chorus kind of thing. That was like huge with grunge.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
Started here.
Okay.
So this is Tame off of Doolittle, which I think...
And this is exciting for me because I've only listened to the first album in my life. Of Pixies. No articles here.
You should listen to this. I'm not actually playing my favorite songs of this album, but like...
But you're playing the most representative?
Yeah, but like, oh my God, there's some songs on that.
Fire?
Oh my God, I love it.
Right.
Okay, anyway.
Sick.
Tame.
Hips like Cinderella. Must be having a good shame. Talking sweet about nothing. Cookie and picture. I'm making good friends with you. When you're shaking your good frame, fall on your face in those bad shoes. Lying there like you're
Watching your face during that just like made me laugh.
I fucking love this song.
You're like mirror, like in Peter Pan when like the gator, the
Croc.
yeah, but the croc with, like when the ticking happens
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Like how his like,
Oh.
how his mustache goes
That's,
like,
that's me listening to
That
Pixies.
was you listening to the
I said the Pixies. God damn it!
Oh,
I did it!
get fucked.
I would just like to say the Pixies walked so Limp Bizkit could run. But no.
Christ almighty.
Again, it's a very weird song. His lyrics are nonsensical and kind of creepy, and as his like breathy delivery. I mean, I love it. So obviously, again, like a Nirvana smoothed that kind of shit out. Where it's like load up on guns, and
Right,
here we are. Now, like take that form, which again is not like anything special, but it really became the sound of rock music for 20 years after that.
Sure.
Awesome. It's just fucking cool. And
It's
then
very
that breakdown with the and like he's just, like on top. Oh man.
Yeah. Okay. So I took a few notes during that. Things I really liked about it. The second verse, the drum part, when it goes to but just for the D minor. And then when you get to the C and F, we're back to 8, right? Instead of 16. And then, but the last time when we're about to build another chorus, it keeps the 16s going, and then opens the hi-hat up into the chorus, right? When it drops that.
Yeah.
Still, and this is another one of my notes, when it drops into the super pinched tone still for the guitar part.
It is. Yeah, it really is. And I like it a lot. It's I don't often like care for two guitar bands as much.
That probably makes sense for someone who wants all the glory for himself.
Yeah, exactly. I just think it's like sometimes hard to pull off. Because Joey Santiago is the lead guy, and then Frank Black sings and plays like rhythm. I think they do a really good job balancing each other out. Like,
Sure.
like
I mean, it seems like they figured out a sound that works for them.
like the tones are so drastically different and complementary. It's really cool. Which again, I think it was another big influence on.
And there was one more thing. You mentioned earlier that the band got significantly worse when Kim was not there, and even when she was there for like the 4 bars of this song, like it brought this new element into it that kind of brought it all to a head and made it come together.
Yeah, I mean, like, and not to diss her as a bass player, but the bass parts are like anyone can play those fucking bass parts.
I'm pretty sure I could.
Yeah. I mean, she wrote them. It's creativity and all that, but like, but like No, her presence makes it different because the new band, they have another girl bass player who is good. I forget her name.
Right.
But like it's not the same. It's really not. She just
don't
has
like
a
things that are
very
different.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I do feel like that, but she had a particular energy that I think again countered his kind of
it seems so.
insanity
Yeah.
a lot.
Because even like during the ahahas of this breakdown, like she was singing notes.
Yes,
And
well, it's also like the first one, the Bone Machine, like that break at the end, like your bones got. He's like your bones.
yeah, and she's like, and she's more crystalline, clear, pure.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a nice counter.
It's a nice balance.
Yeah.
Nice counterbalance.
Also, I forgot to comment your face though when it started. The production quality.
What happened, man?
This is one album to the next.
Yeah, dude, what is it, like 2 years?
Yeah, basically.
Damn.
I do like the lo-fi-ness of the first one, but like
This still has it in a way.
it does. But I think the separation is better. So like it's. Or I don't know, maybe if the producer has more influence too. I'm not sure as far as like the parts go, but like I think their weirdness kind of shines a lot better here.
Sure.
In a way.
I mean, just think about it. There's just less chaos in the mid frequencies, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Everything has its own place in the stereo image.
It makes a big difference.
It's not a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually not that bad in the first one. It has its own charm.
It sounds like a lo-fi 80s album, but
with its cool little twists. Yeah.
But like, I'm glad that they were able to retain the quirks and the weirdness while having a crisper sound, which is hard to do. I've heard that plenty of time when like bands get more successful, and then it's like this is lame now, But they did good. They good.
That's really cool.
I'm just gonna play one more, and this was just because I fucking love this song and I had to play it.
Right.
But this to me is the perfect example of the balance and the dynamics between the two singers.
Okay.
And just how fucking weird they are, and it's crazy that they were so influential. But here we are.
Bring it.
This is I Bleed.
As loud as hell, ringing bell behind my smile. It shakes my teeth, and all the while, as vampires feed, I bleed, I bleed, I Prithee, my dear, why are we here? Nobody knows. We go to sleep as breathing flows. My mind succeeds. I bleed. I bleed. I bleed. I bleed. I bleed. There's a place in the very west, in a cave with a house in it. In the cave, the holes are hands. You can place a hand in hand. I bleed, I bleed, I
I didn't mean to play the whole song, but I've
There's nothing we can do about it. Yeah. It's like 212, right? Something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I have a lot of things to say about it that are awesome.
I'll just my initial like just sort of like okay, so again that trope of like sort of the bass and the drum starting, great fuzzy bass tone too, by the way. So simple, just 1-5, 1-4, basically, right? the bass line part.
Yeah.
But then the vocals obviously happen, and
They sure did. They sure happened.
so go ahead.
Well, that's the first thing I wanted to talk about is like bands like this, and you know, a lot of the kind of main players in the industry throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s, 70s and 80s, I guess more so, really were filled with like very strong personalities.
Yes.
And it kind of gets me wondering, is like, as someone who signs a band or like even like as part of the band, like how do you write shit like this? How do you come up with the idea to have someone delivering vocals in like plain speak with slurring, and then have
Nobody.
Is that a reference, by the way?
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Oh, it might be.
I think it literally might be. Anyway, fucking. But like, how do you have the idea and the conviction to have some guy like drunkenly slur the words on the bottom and have Kim sing the lyrics on top?
Yeah, just so straight too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And how do you come up with the sound, and how do you sign that, and how do you present that to the public?
I mean, we talked about that when we talked about like Mr. Bungle.
Yeah.
Like on an episode that's like,
How
they were
did
just
Warner-
signing people. It's like,
Why did Warner Brothers sign Mr. Bungle?
I don't know, but I'm glad they did.
Same. But seriously, like, how do you
Well,
do
and
it?
that's the weird thing about them, because it's like, again, that's fucking weird, but there's still that just very like catchy
It's there.
poppiness
It's there,
to it,
yeah.
you know? And it's like, you could hear that on the radios and on the radio in the 90s, like,
And not
wouldn't
turn it
be
off.
it wouldn't be that out of place, really. I mean, like, as far as just like the sound and the instrumentation goes and like the riffs, I mean, there's like details of like how on the second chorus, I guess, the guitar player plays like the same thing, but like in a weird harmonization kind of thing.
Very cool.
Favorite part is how that fucking like bridge breakdown is just
Bruh.
so nonsensical to the rest of it. Like,
Yeah.
like I don't know what the music theory is happening there. I'd never like learned
Yeah.
it, but it's like
I forgot to write down the progression.
that's fine. But it's weird. It doesn't make sense.
It's like A, D, E minor, F minor or something.
very bizarre.
Yeah.
But the flip of then Frank Black doing the very straight talk and Kim doing the after that, and then coming back to I bleed, and she's I bleed. And
Yeah,
she's,
in her
"I
lowest-
bleed."
yeah.
Like
It's
it's cool,
so
It's
interesting.
so like thought out,
And I'm wondering, like, what their motivation was for doing that. Like, was it a pure like calculated thing where it's like, well, at the beginning we could do this thing where we swap gradually throughout the song, or was it like some sort of metaphorical thing? Or
it's probably more just that cool idea, and I think that's a thing that happens. Like, I mean, that's why generally when there's like a band with personalities, their early shit is a lot better, because it's like you can tell they're friends and they hang out and they're just fucking,
sure.
and they're just like, hey, this will be fun, and it's like they're talented enough that it actually worked out and sounds good, and maybe the producer kind of edited it, who knows, but like then they kind of get older or whatnot more, and they're just like, well, just fucking do it. Like the next two albums, which I'm not gonna play any of them, but with the Still Kim deal, it's like I like those albums, but they don't quite have that little spark of creativity in them. They're still like cool, weird shit, but it's nothing like that.
okay,
happens.
just
in
missing the ultimate top level.
Yeah, there's good songs, but like no, it just doesn't capture this that early starting out band kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think there's something to the idea that like this extra little spark comes from something like the specific artist, like lived experiences or something like that? Like, people with, as just an example, like someone with like a fucked up childhood comes in and starts this rock ass band and like has this unique perspective, like things like that. Do you think that extra little spark can be caused by things like that? Or
I mean, the whole tortured artist thing. Is
yeah,
a
exactly.
thing,
I'm
but-
asking how relevant that is. To a lot
Well,
of
to
things.
me, like this particular vibe, I would say, and this is something I've experienced in bands before in my past when I'm like really close to them. It is sort of like again, I don't know how to put it into words, but it's sort of like someone does something and they're like, "Oh, dude, that's cool," and then you just kind of like run
build,
with it.
yep.
And I mean, we've done that too before.
Yeah.
We're like, "That's a joke," but then it kind of becomes a thing.
And it's
like,
great. This could be cool. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I remember once I was in this band, we played like a St. Patty's Day gig.
No.
And we had this really
Here
good
we
idea
go.
to do a sort of
Irish.
like faux Irish song, and we started it with "Time to Inebriate Yourself," and we started like chugging beers, and it was like pretty good. But then we had an idea to do it again a second time in the set, and it didn't work.
yeah.
Everyone hated it,
Yeah.
and it was very awkward.
Yeah. This is a great
So
story.
one time that happened.
Yeah.
But
Also, if you recall, we started out doing that as time to eviscerate yourself.
I do remember that as
Yeah.
well.
That was a great ditty. I came up with that.
That was a good.
Yeah.
Thing. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's that kind of shit, though. I mean, that was obviously more of a joke,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah,
that
but
kind
it
of
kept
idea,
building,
yeah.
yeah.
And
And
it's
I've-
like it's also like when we did that Naruto song at Prague Fest.
That was badass. Dude.
It was bad. That's like it's
was
that kind of
badass.
shit where it's like sometimes that works out really
Also,
well.
I'm pretty sure we just revealed our power level
Nope,
to the entire internet.
Nope.
What's up? There's Naruto right there.
Ah.
Hanging out with Sparks the Dragonfly from Spyro the Dragon. Good shit.
Anyway, that's all I was going to play for Pixies. I do want to share my one Frank Black story though.
Bring it.
So Frank Black, at the last 15 years ago, moved to Eugene, Oregon, where I currently reside. I don't know why. His solo albums are recorded there though, like at the studio, like close to me. It's kind of weird.
Nice.
But one night, I was back when I still lived here, but the band I was in went on a tour, and we went to Eugene, and we played at a show, and the opening band invited us to like this after party at this really cool thing. It's called a barcade. I don't know if you've ever heard of one of those.
I love barcades, dude.
I
You
know,
can
they're-
make
they're
fun of me
fun.
all you want.
They were fun. But anyway, so we go to this barcade, and we're just kind of like, we're on tour, we're like partying, it's fun, blah, 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 or whatever. But we get there close to close, start closing up, they're like, last call, and then they start playing Pixies songs, like Where's My Mind and shit like that.
Nice.
I was like, oh, this is cool, they're playing Pixies, but they like played a bunch in a row, because before they were just, doing DJ shit or whatever. I'm like, that's kind of weird. And then I go outside waiting for everyone, and I see this guy who, Frank Black, I don't know if you know what he looks like.
Nope.
Fat and bald.
Word.
Yeah. I'm like, and I'm like, kind of looks like Frank Black. And I was like, yeah, he lives here. I was like, maybe that is Frank Black. And they're still playing Pixies songs. And he's just standing outside by himself. And then he looks at me, and he kind of goes,
No.
gives me like the head nod and the little
He knows,
wink.
yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, it's Frank Black.
Were you deer in headlights, kind of?
Yeah, I was drunk. I was just like, and then he just like disappears into the night.
Oh, mysterious.
So that's my Frank Black story.
Pretty cool.
But in any case,
Celebrity sighting Eugene, Oregon. What a fucking
that's
world.
the only one we have. And he's barely a celebrity.
Good shit.
At least up here where you have cool bands like the Fleet Foxes.
Are they local?
Yeah.
Are they?
I remember once Joe, like on our way to Rex rehearsal, I think, we went to a Joe bar. And I guess he's like, the
yeah.
drummer from the Fleet Foxes was in there. And I was like, how do you fucking know who the drummer
Yeah,
of
what the
Fleet
fuck?
Foxes
Does he play like just
They
like
have
eighth
a
notes
drummer?
with-
I don't know.
They play eighth notes with brushes? Like, what do you mean?
Anyway, we're done being dicks. All right, Jake.
Yeah.
What do you want to share with us?
My first group of tonight is some prog ass shit from the 70s.
So this has been Music Sucks and I Want to Die.
My name's Jake. Yeah. And I'm sharing with you Gentle Giant. So I briefly mentioned them as a listening of the week. Thanks for reminding me. Probably a million years ago at this point. But they are a very bizarre prog band from the 70s.
That's putting it mildly.
I want to get too much into it before we just check out their first stuff. They have like this weird duality to their sound.
Kind of like the...
No. So they have like a weird duality to the sound that's very half like, pretty main kind of prog rock, some weird time signatures here and there, but you still got the groove, you got the stuff. And then like this fucked up modern, like not quite avant-garde, like it was hypertonal, classical influence, kind of like I would put it toward like a Wagner or something like that.
Interesting.
You're very late tonality, hyperchromatic.
Kind of on that edge.
Exactly,
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
towards the Bartoks.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Like this weird influence, which I'll get into why. But I guess I'll just play this first song, which is closer to our more badass. And we're going to play a couple different sections from it. This is a Proclamation off The Power and the Glory.
The situation we are in at this time, neither a good one, nor is it so unblessed. It can change, it can stay the same. I can say, I can make my claim. Help, 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 help. Unity nation for nation. All my people and my friends, no change.
Yeah. So Jake,
What up?
do you think there's a reason they're like the least popular of the prog bands of the 70s?
Oh, trust me, we're gonna get into it. But we're gonna before we start getting into all the stuff that is Gentle Giant, the good and the bad and the ugly. We're gonna just pop right into the outro or the kind of the later part of the song where it gets really fucking loud and then does a reprise of this intro section, and it's the coolest thing ever. So fire it up.
Situation we are in at this time. We're a good one. So is it someone blessed? It can change. It can stay the same. I can say I can make my claim. This way, in this way.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. A lot to unpack.
Yes, there is.
Let's start with the good that I think is like honestly like pretty amazing and cool. First of all, the soundscape is pretty unique, just on a sonic level.
I was gonna say too, I really like that like 70s like experimental production.
Sure,
because they didn't
yeah.
have that much back then, so it's like all they can really do is like pan and echo and reverb and shit.
Right.
But I do like how extra they go with it. Like you don't really hear people doing that kind of shit as much antle
no,
they have like
yeah.
a million.
It's
other
all.
things.
I mean, it's basically
Yeah.
a science now.
Yeah, but even like the intro part, the first part, like the organ or whatever,
The Rhodes?
the Rhodes, yeah, you can kind of like
Tremolo back and forth
yeah,
between yours.
like
Yeah.
it's cool.
It's cool.
I
It creates
like
a very
it.
strange
Yeah.
effect in my head. Yeah.
And his the delay on the vocals in the first part are just so it's like so like yeah,
it's very strange. Yeah,
yeah.
it's like a slapback gone wrong.
yeah, it's like slapback should be one repeat, but they had like 5.
Yeah,
it's like
fucking-
it's very
yeah,
strange, yeah, but it's cool.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, I guess, just the structure of the song and how you build it, right? You got this, you basically have two main ideas, right? You have your main riff, right? You go through the sections of it. Basically, go through all that shit. And what doesn't happen in the song is a couple other things that is related to the riff. And then we get to this big giant climax section, which we heard the tail end of. It's like another minute before that, too. And then you use a very cool metric modulation device, right? Day by day, da, 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 day by day,
Yeah.
by day, by day, by dun, 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 ba,
That's
ba.
why we like prog.
Yeah.
Like, get a nerd out on that shit. But but it's really smooth. It's well
very
done.
smooth, and,
yeah.
and it's natural. It doesn't feel like a lot of prog shit does sometimes. Very forced. I would blame some like mid Genesis shit to be very forced.
Well, like, good point. Like, I think a lot of like prog metal, like fucking Dream Theater and that kind of shit.
God.
Like, I feel
Deer
like
Hunter or whatever.
Yeah, it's like I mean, I appreciate that they do weird shit, but I think they take. It's like, yeah, they don't try to make it feel natural. They like want you to know they're doing weird
Yes.
time signatures, and it's like
It feels very forced. Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't. Thank you for
Yeah.
bringing that up. I could. Deer Hunter's like one of my least favorite bands of all time.
I know.
And I don't know how much Dream Theater. I know Jordan Rudess is good, I guess. But
I mean, they're all fucking amazing musicians,
Yeah.
but like, it is very much like we're in 7, now it's 17.
That's
and it's just
right,
Like,
yeah.
Here's the fucking like it's. but like that.
But it doesn't have too much.
That was very
substance.
musical. I
Yes.
mean, well, and I guess that's the big chamber influence.
Yes, and I'll get into that too. But and then they bring back the reprise of the main theme at a faster tempo with what is like possibly one of my favorite drum fills ever. And I had a piece that I'm still working on. It's been like a year and a half. Kill me. And I had the drummer do something that was very similar to this fill. Basically, the idea is you do just straight 16ths, digga, 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 that's that you use the anticipation of the closing of a hi-hat to like make you feel just a little on edge, and then you crash hard as fuck into the downbeat. If you remember what I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's really cool. And then it's go time after that, right? And then that new material fill at the end where it's like, whereas at the beginning it was a different situation. They used instead of being like a more badass kind of fill like the ending fill is, it's like more tonal voice leading kind of situation because it's in D minor. Basically, it does like some weird A og, but like it's all moving very fast. It's all very voice like horizontal.
Yeah.
But they end up doing like some A flat over E flat inversion, and then you get to D minor. But at the end, it's just like your G13 licks, and you end on the 9 of D minor, and it's like just a triplety, and that keeps the momentum going more in the direction that they want for the ending. And it's details like that I think make this band really special.
It's listening to that, like I'm not saying they ripped these bands off because they are all contemporaries, but like I hear a lot of like other prog bands in them,
sure,
but like taking their idea of like way further. Like I think like the lyrics and the singing has a little bit of like John Anderson, yes, kind of mystical, high pitched kind of, but like way weirder, way more that like the guitar player reminds me of Steve Hackett from Genesis and his parts and like
to an extent for sure. Yeah,
I mean again they're all contemporaries, they're all doing this at the same time.
Yeah,
but it just
what a weird time.
They take everything is really pushed farther than a lot of those other bands went.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing about this album, and I think the other album I'm going to get into. I'm also only really talking about 2 albums. And like they managed to do all this, and they push farther than any other prog band that I know of. Maybe like Soft Machine. I don't even know if you call them a prog band.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But,
I mean, like compared to someone like Rush, like at heart, Rush is like a rock band that does weird shit. This is like prog. There's nothing else. This is prog.
This is Gentle Giant.
Yeah, like that's it.
So I think that's one reason I like them is they go farther than everyone else. Their ideas, while being very out there and whatevs, are very logical. They make a lot of sense when they make sense. We'll get there. But
it is hard to make that work. Like
consistently,
if you take every like particular instrument and like
it's so cool.
It's a puzzle. It's a puzzle, and they put it together
and
pretty well.
Yes, and I want to play this song, and I want to talk about what's also a little more unique about their sound as opposed to like everyone else. Early Pink Floyd's,
sure,
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So fire up So Sincere off the same album.
Lies, he only tells the truth, or he means it. Means not anything he says, eyes unseen, but everything is.
So sincere, so sincere, so sincere, so
Yes, that is to say.
I don't think any other band had so much counterpoint.
Exactly. That's exactly where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
So,
like, it's insane.
Man, if only Martin Luther were alive, he'd be so proud. No, I forget. Was he the guy who did like Polyphony and shit? No, he did the Lutheran stuff.
Yeah,
he probably still hated Polyphony then. I can't remember.
Good reference.
Yeah, thanks. Anyway, no. So what I'm trying to get with this is their parts between the instruments are very disconnected from each other. They're very much in their own segment or their own realm, and they're much more horizontal than most other bands would ever write. And part of that is these sounds are not as hard hitting as your distorted guitars.
That is very true.
Your giant bass drums.
I didn't think about that, but that does make a big difference.
Yeah, you can't really get away with stuff like this.
Could you imagine like a metal kind of guitar? Like,
And that's the thing. Is like, you know, we've talked about this briefly before, in that how metal is a genre that has a lot of stuff I like. In theory, I should like it, but like they limit themselves by the tones they get oftentimes.
well, it has to be heavy, dude.
Yeah, exactly. But back to this band, like, what can you think of besides like the late tonalities, even before?
No, it's not. I mean, to me too, like especially on that last, like the drums have a part.
Yes,
and
exactly.
It's like, and you like I like bands where the drummers have parts, but that's usually more just sort of like a tom rhythm or something. Like
Right.
this is a part. Like
Thoroughly
I cannot
considered.
think of another popular band that has anything close to how
No.
extreme. Again, yeah, they go very far with everything they
Yes.
do. I do hear a little influence on you too in those pieces you wrote that we did.
Which one's the narrating ones?
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah, I can feel that.
yeah, which are available to listen to.
On my YouTube channel.
All right,
Jake
check it out.
Seeley.
Jake Seeley at youtube.com.
That's not that
That's
URL,
not
but
how that
that's
works.
okay. Yeah, so you're right. I didn't think about that, but there's a lot of disconnect in that.
It
for
does
sure.
remind
yeah.
me of like parts of that you wrote.
Yeah, and part of it's also the instrumentation, which
Yeah,
is a
yes,
rock band
exactly.
plus classical instruments.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
there's a violin in that piece. It's electric, but
but your drum parts were very
oh sure.
based like that.
Yep.
Kind of does definitely reminds me of that a lot.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. Hell yeah. But no, so they are so strange. I really like the way they write. And the harmony on this piece as well, so sincere. I call it a piece even.
I mean, I don't think there's a worse name for it.
Yeah, right? Like, it's hard to describe the harmony. Like, I would have to sit down, because it's not a chord progression, right?
No.
It's not, A, E, G, D, right? It's fucking quick moving. It lines up in strange places.
They really, I mean, at a certain point, I'll backtrack these statements as we listen to some later selections. But I really like, we were just saying on the last thing, it's like, as if prog is a genre, this is like what prog like
represents.
It really is
Yeah.
just like the ideals of prog.
Yes,
there's
in
no
one band.
There's like, I mean,
No
maybe,
compromise.
I would say like early King Crimson kind of comes close to that as well.
yeah.
But like you're saying, like Rush is like a rock band, and Yes as well. I feel like kind of
They could push, but
yeah, they push. But Pink Floyd, for instance, like is another one where it's like, okay, it's rock, it's like smart rock or something like that.
smart rock.
I mean, but like this is so removed from that world. There's no like blues in this really. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean. There
Yeah.
was one blues spot.
There is, but like
On the
not-
other piece, yeah.
Yes, I do. But like, it's not like blues. Obviously, was such a huge influence on guitar music,
Everything,
just like
yeah.
guitar music, modern guitar music, whatever. Like everything that it entails.
Yeah.
And like, man, they really did not incorporate that.
No.
And it's very cool and very unique. And,
Yeah. Strange. We're going to finish off the good section of Gentle Giant with this piece. This one... how do I describe this one? It's contrapuntal in nature as well. It has several different sections, but it also rocks. It's kind of both.
Alright.
It goes through both.
Here we
and
go.
We're going to have to play this one a little bit, I think.
That's fine with me.
All right, fire it.
Knots.
Knots, yes.
Knots.
Knots Berry Farm. Let's go. Shut up.
All in all, each man in all men and all
Men in each man
he
can see, she can see, can see, she can see whatever.
You may know what
You
I
may
don't
know
know.
what I don't know, but I don't know it. But I can tell you, so you will. To tell me all men in all men in each man. He can see, she can see, she can see whatever.
You may know what
You may know what I've done that I don't know it, but I can tell you, so you will have to tell me all. It hurts him to think that she is hurting her by him to be itchy to think that is she thinks he is making her feel guilty as he hurting him by hurting she wants to hurt he wants to him to get him to her she pretends she wants to him to get her she pretends.
There's a lot to unpack here.
To me, this is where we start borderlining on cringe. But it's so well done
Yeah,
that I
it's
can't
hard to
say
hate.
it's cringe. Like, and also like, it has to be thought out, that build up, like until it starts getting into the groove. Like,
Oh, at the end, the 6/8 thing.
yeah, like especially with that little like thing in the middle where it almost like
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
like it just like
You mean the big crashes at that one section?
and then like
Bam.
that's just so perfect.
Yes,
like
and like the contrast between instrumentation, obviously too. You have your big heavy instruments for those crashes, and then you're back to very sax played very lightly.
Yeah.
And then like your not auxiliary percussion, your chromatic percussion instruments with piano playing very strange part, minor seconds, and then strange sections with the same contrapuntal vocal stuff over it, which the vocals are fucking insane.
Oh yeah, dude, like
They're whack.
how do you rate that? Like
I don't
that
know.
just
It's almost like a Gesualdo madrigal. I don't know if you ever listened to any Carlo Gesualdo. Carlo Gesualdo was a 16th century composer, 1500s, right? Who was writing this essentially, and like is super crazy.
Do you know much about the band members?
I do. I'll get into
okay,
them.
okay.
Yeah. Fuck. Where was it? No, So it's like very strange vocal parts, and introducing those vocal parts when they're not by themselves, but with this instrumentation underneath it as well, and then using that as your springboard into the.
It was really fucking like
Even that rock ass section with the 6/8 thing, rock, right? That's the most rock in.
yeah, I mean it's groovy, you know, like whatever. Yeah.
And even that section has big, like, separate vocal lines. Like, you have the da ba 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 over the.
I do also really like the contrast because it's like we just had so much crazy vocal part
Disjointed,
shit,
yeah.
and then that comes in and it's just so like harmony. And,
And it's a nice wash.
Yeah, it's like it's a great contrast on that.
And then actually, the ending of that section is fucking sick. I almost want to play it, but
No.
What happens is it goes to this big fucking vibraphone, xylophone solo, which might just be the keyboard player too. No, they have it. Actually, they have the mallet player live.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's cool. All the dudes are multi-instrumentalists, and they're all amazing. But at the end of that xylophone solo.
I mean, they're pretty similar.
Yeah, they're very similar instruments. At the end of that solo with the piano accompaniment, it's like this for like 30 seconds, and then
Nope.
please kill me.
The Pixies, Jake.
The Pixies. The xylophone ends up with this really short cadence, and then everything hits. Ba-na-na-na, bow, 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 where they reprise that shit.
That's
and
cool,
then
that's cool.
The vocals do like the shit, just like little teases of it, and then they get back to the rock. The whole piece is very well considered, and that's why I'm not sure they're a rock band at all.
They're not.
Yeah. What's progressive without the rock?
They have guitar.
Oh, true.
I honestly think that's the only, like, if there was no guitar, this would be like art music or like contemporary classical.
Who
or
the
something.
fuck knows? Yeah, contemporary classical maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I'm gonna use this opportunity to kind of give some background about the band.
Yeah.
Very short.
I'm curious. I don't know anything about these guys.
Yeah. So I didn't until I looked it up. I knew a little bit of it. So basically, the core of the band at the beginning were the three brothers, Phil, Derek, and Ray Schulman. They actually were a soul pop band beforehand.
No shit.
They were. I actually have heard this band before. I've heard of them. I hadn't heard them, but they had a top 10 UK single called. So their band was Simon Dupree and the Big Sound. Like, have you heard that name? I think I've heard it. And they had a top 10 hit. It was called Kites. But
That does explain a lot of the vocal shit. Like,
they're pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, I get it. Okay.
So basically, the story is, these brothers are fed up with the pop music scene. They're time to branch out, do some shit. They met up with the keyboard player named Kenny Manier, who was a recent graduate of RCM, which is probably where a lot of this influence comes in.
Yep, that would make a lot of sense, yes.
Yeah. And they met up with the drummer and auxiliary percussionist, various instruments, percussion. He's really cool. And they started playing fucking prog shows. They released Octopus, which is where the last track we heard was off of in like 72, I think. And before the release of that album, they had a really hard tour, like grueling dates and all that stuff. And every show they were booed off stage. Because they were touring with Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath and had his opener band of Gentle Giant for every show for 3 months. One of the band members was quoted as saying, "This is the most embarrassing double bill that has ever been booked, and I can't believe."
I mean, that sounds like a fucking great show.
Yes!
But yeah, I could see people being a little upset.
No, they were booed off stage every show.
That reminds me, my dad told me this concert he went to in the 70s. I forget, it was something like Scorpions or something. It was like some, I don't know, it wasn't them, but it was like,
I hate
it was some like hard rock, metal-y band or whatever. The opener was Pat Benatar. And this is before Pat Benatar had like hits or anything. I guess she used to come out in like Peter Pan outfits and like, yeah.
Sounds awesome.
It's actually very sad. Apparently they just threw a bunch of like beer bottles at her and she had to like get off stage and stop the show and everything. Like, it's pretty fucked up. So I don't know who was making these shows back in the day, but
some very dumbass people. So that's hilarious to me. I don't know. The Black Sabbath pairing, I would see that show any day in my life.
Amazing.
Yeah. But after that, they released albums to, not even critical acclaim. They occupied a very strange space.
They really are not brought up as much as all the other prog bands of the 70s.
I want to say but the thing is, they're still in the circle somewhere.
They are, yeah. I mean, people know them, but they're not a Yes, not a King Crimson.
Not close. They're not even a Pink Floyd gets more proggy.
Yeah,
prog airtime. Yeah, proggy time.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So they occupy just like this weird little circle. Like if I'm going to draw like a Venn diagram, like they occupy like the top circle over here, right? Like they're barely in the circle.
Yeah.
They're barely in the prog land. And it's pretty sick. They're pretty awesome. But
that being said,
they're also cringy as fuck. They're weird, awkward, and we're going to play the same song that we just played live. And there's just something wrong. And you can't even see the video, and I bet you at home can sense it. I don't know what it is, and you're going to have to tell me, and you're going to watch, and I'm not watching. Oh, play Knots live, would you please?
Tell me, old man, all men in each band. She can see, she can see whatever. You may know it, but not that I don't know it, and I can't do you, so you will tell me all. It hurts him to think that she is hurting her by him being her, to think that she thinks he is hurt by making her feel guilty and hurting him by her thinking she wants him to want her, he wants her to want him to get him to want him to get him to want him to be intense.
That's our transition point.
No,
for a
I want to
medley.
keep going.
Yeah. So let's dissect from a pure audio perspective. What I think one of the things that went wrong is in the studio, you can sing these lower, like underneath parts, like right?
Yeah, it's not awkward.
It's not awkward, and well, the thing that makes it awkward is the amount of force you have to project. Gives you a strange attack on the note in your lower register often, and in the studio you can be as accurate. But if you have to sing loud, and I don't know what it is, but like I can feel the crowd in that show in this recording.
It does make a little more sense that they got booed off after watching that. I'm going to get a little into like sort of like society and culture and how we view people.
Bring it. Come on.
So socially awkward, weirdo nerd people.
You're talking to me or what?
Just general.
Okay.
I mean, have you ever noticed if you've gone to like, a video game thing or like a card shop or something like that?
I've done both, yep.
Notice how the people there are generally kind of like unattractive and not really like well groomed and kind of just look a little.
Again, I can't tell if
weird.
you're talking to me.
I'm not. I'm speaking in general terms
no,
here.
I got what you're saying.
So Prague is that
Yes.
of the music land, and if we are going with a theory that they are the most Prague of Prague, yeah, they are. Looking at them now, they rip like. I mean, this is obviously still a thing like today, but like the 70s especially, like for rock, it was very much like a lot of heartthrob kind of people.
Oh,
like
sure,
Robert
yeah.
Plant or someone like it's like it was a big thing. It's a
physical
big
specimens.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
Yikes. Yikes. 0.5.
the percussion, like the guy doing the violin,
Shut up. God damn it.
bald and like glasses and just something about seeing
He's
him
hunched
over
with-
like that.
Was he formatting?
Yes, yeah. And then the fucking main singer, his facial hair was like a goatee, but then went to a full beard.
Neck.
Yes, very neck. And there's something about like 4 guys standing in a row at mics, dressed like they're in like a cult,
Singing contrapuntal.
and they're all
Weird.
just like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
like they're-
but the thing is, you have to do that to keep time.
You have to. I get it. But like their facial expression, it's like there's nothing sexy about this music, and like, but they're trying so hard at the same time,
But in the end, it doesn't even
that
matter.
has nothing to do with their music at all. But like, yeah, I kind of get it now. I get why they're maybe not the most popular of the prog bands.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
okay. But when it comes down to it, when you have someone or a group that's trying to push like every envelope musically in like there's so many different directions, how on earth can you produce winners all the time? You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
you can't. I mean,
Yeah.
like, no, and I'm very happy they exist and that
Yeah.
they did this and they were them. Like, but wow,
Yeah.
that was something.
Yeah. Anyway, that's Gentle Giant. I love there's songs I wanted to play that we don't have time for. Go check them out. The 2 albums I'd recommend are The Power and the Glory and Octopus. They're both really good. Octopus is a little more on their, chambery side,
Sure.
and then Power and the Glory has more of the rock shit.
They were a band for a long time too, weren't they?
Pretty long.
Yeah.
Like 10 years.
Yeah, they have quite a few albums.
I
if
still don't
recall.
understand how famous they were or
I
not.
have no clue.
It's very confusing because they sold like nowhere, at the time. But like they were popular enough to tour with Black Sabbath.
I mean, I don't think that meant much back then.
I guess they're both UK too.
Yeah, it's probably in the same fucking city or whatever.
Yeah.
Or same label or who
knows?
Yeah.
Same label, Jesus.
Maybe.
What a great label.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's basically what I want to say about Gentle Giant. They're very cool, obviously very unique, push things musically, very contrapuntal, very strange harmony, more so akin to like a composer than
Yeah, I
a
mean,
rock band.
there's not been a moderately famous band, I will say, I guess, that is anywhere near this weird, I don't think.
No.
Like, and this
weird,
specific
yeah.
type of weird.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's Gentle Giant.
so speaking of weird, my turn again?
Yes.
All right.
What's weird?
We are listening to one of my favorite guitar players. Oh. Dave Fiuzynski.
What a
I
guy.
don't know if that's how I say it. I think it's like Fuse.
We'll tag him on Instagram after this and be like, we fucked up your name. Please spread our podcast to everyone you know and love.
Yeah, pretty much. Dave Fiuzynski, there's a lot with him as well. He's been a sideman on 100 albums and worked on that kind of shit. But his own music, he more than any other guitar player can think of, really explores microtones, fretless guitar, that kind of shit.
I love fretless guitar.
And very world influence. And there's not really another guitar player that's, I think actually he's German, but American. He raised here and everything. But anyway, that does that, and also just makes some fucking badass music, and is also just a fucking ripping guitar player in general. So we're gonna start with his first band that really became a thing, and this is I think in the same era of Mr. Bungle getting signed, and it's who fucking signs these bands? Yeah, who fucking signs this shit? But his band, Screaming Headless Torsos. But I describe them as sort of if the Chili Peppers were actually cool and interesting.
Okay,
I guess
that sounds cool.
So it's funk rock, I would say. But check out his comping, his guitar.
Okay.
Let
me get this straight. This is when he's in 12 Edo, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, this is the most straightforward of anything we're going to listen to after this, because everything else is going to be it's out of tune. But anyway, so this is, if I can find it, Mind is a River by Screaming Headless Torsos.
Word.
When I saw Jove, my legend seemed to choreograph. Though still in my youth, I questioned my own existence. No moral guidance cleanse my yearning to know about the outside. Chase my tomorrows away. I couldn't be too long for sure. 'Cause sometimes you can know too much for your own bit of good. And following the roadmap to your dreams, you don't know your name. Well, my mind is a river that flows. My mind is a river that flows. My mind is a river that flows. Yeah, my mind is a river that flows.
Dude, this is way better than Chili Peppers have ever been.
I know, but it's that sound, the funk rock, but this is what funk rock should be.
That was fucking tight. What's the name of this band again?
Screaming Headless Torsos. I think they only have 2 or 3 albums out, but it's all, yeah, they're fucking awesome. Again, that's
Screaming Headless.
Yeah, Torsos.
Thank you.
It is straightforward. There's weird shit in there, but not really. Some of the songs get a little more out there, but this is definitely him at his most conventional. I guess I would say
disgusting.
Yeah, right.
His tone during the verses, flanger tremolo,
Something like that, maybe a rotary speaker kind of simulation thing. I'm not sure.
A lot of guitar players like those Leslies.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool shit. Because it's rock and funk, and those are obviously foundations for him. But he's very good at sneaking the other weird shit, that. Yeah, the comp. Is there a rock song that has that comping of the verse in it? No. Even the tone aside, just the part he's playing, it's like a jazz comp.
Yeah, it's lines up. It's weird times.
Yeah.
Voicing is a little cool. It's sometimes he drops the single line.
Exactly. Yeah, it's cool shit. Check them out. They're just awesome.
I'm not going to play a lot of that. I'm going to be spamming.
They're fucking great.
I'm going to be binge listening.
Yes. But he also does jazz. And
what a nerd!
I know, right? So his thing is he plays a double neck guitar, but the top neck is a fretless.
I have a soft spot for fretless guitar,
it's awesome.
man.
Oh my god, it's so good. So we're gonna play a little of your girl Hiromi.
Yes.
I'm just gonna play the melody. There's a ton of cool shit in this song, but I love how he approaches the melody to this song. It's called Caravan. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, I've never heard of it.
No, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But fretless guitar is cool, and you don't hear it in jazz much.
No, I can't think of a fretless player in jazz.
Here we go, Caravan.
Okay, so last time I made that face was when I listened to fucking The Way Up.
Yeah.
This is the same kind of moment. That's and that's actually like a compositional thing. Like, do you shoot for like a big picture or do you shoot for one moment? You know what I mean?
It's
God damn, that was
that-
fucking nasty. And possibly better because the bridge was so bad.
Yeah.
I have a thing.
I know.
I have a thing.
I already knew this was going to happen when I picked this song, but go for it. Yes.
Most jazz piano players are terrible synthesizer players.
It's
the worst thing that it makes me cringe, makes me want to die.
it's such a bad choice.
I know.
I mean,
So sad.
I'm glad that it's different enough from the A section, but like that was not the move. That was not the move. But anyway, let's talk about his guitar playing because
God.
it's so he's again. I think it's like the rock, jazz, blues influence. It's like somewhere between sitar and like slide blues guitar because it's still very guitar-y.
Yeah, the tone is very guitar-y.
Yeah, especially. But like, and this is like earlier, but like we'll play some later shit where he gets really into the microtonal shit. But like, just the slight sort of off-tuneness
And-
like.
So, microtones are great. That's where, at least in the world I live in, that microtones have the most impact.
I agree.
Is when you use something of an off-kilter note to accentuate something or you destabilize something in a certain way. Having a consistent microtonal scale of, like, let's say a 17 Edo or whatever, it doesn't have the same impact.
It's a different thing. Let's just say it's a very different thing.
It's different. It's also worse.
I mean, I like something, but yes, you're right. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Okay, but that just the slight. But that's the thing. It's not. It's so. It's very removed from like blues vocal kind of like in between pitch thing.
Oh, sure.
Like that's obviously part of his influence, but it's way more I think intentional and more of the like say Indian or whatever Asian music kind of way where they actually think about these pitches.
Yes, well, they're actual pitches.
Yes, exactly. And it's like
So much research too. Yeah,
I know
goes into that.
especially over instruments that don't do that. But, like, electric bass and keyboard. Like it's hard to not. He has other. I couldn't find a good recording. Kind of want to play it, but he has groups that are like microtonal groups, and he has like microtonal keyboard kind of shit in some of his bands. It's really cool, but it is different. Like kind of what you're saying, when it's all sort of like that, it's not quite as. It doesn't give you that.
Oh my god! Oh my
nasty.
god!
Speaking of nasty,
David Fiuzynski.
now we're going to listen to our boy Rude Rash.
Oh my god! So David's this good, huh?
Yes. This is from his Rude Rash Mahantapa, which we talked about
At some point,
the jazz episode, I believe.
I mean, probably
Or something, I don't remember.
Rude Rash is
Awesome.
we both met him. He's
Amazing.
fucking dope.
Amazing. This is album Gamak. I'm going to play two parts of this. I'm going to play the intro because it's crazy rude as shit, but also the comping is very. If you think back to the Screaming Headless Torsos and now going to this, it's kind of interesting. So here's the head, I guess we'll call it.
Sure.
Here, this is Waiting is Forbidden. So when you put it on mute, it doesn't work for some reason.
We apologize for the dead air.
We're going to cut that. All right, here we go.
Oh, okay.
So just a taste. But I really love that he has fretted guitar and fretless, and obviously it's an overdub, but like it's such a nice contrast.
So that is him doubling.
Yes. I know. Like the little articulations that he matches with her. Oh man. Like
And even the points where he offsets.
yeah. Really fucking cool. I do like the mix too, where he's like just
Underneath.
underneath enough that it's like it's in there, but like, ooh, it's a cool production. Anyway, just to get a taste of that head. But let's
Get a taste.
go to his solo. This is full on like microtonal bullshit.
Nah.
That's cool.
I mean, I don't always hate me some microtones. Let's
Yeah, I
go.
know. Here we go. Some bullshit, dude. I don't know.
That's some bullshit.
I think what I admire most is like it's so easy to fall in like fretless guitar side to say you're playing like backwards delay or slide or pretending to do Indian scales with your voice, perhaps. It's so easy to kind of fall into that, just like kind of like that kind of bullshit, especially on guitar. Very like slidey, just on the one string, which I mean mimics those instruments and those sounds. But like that's secondary. It's like the counterpoint that he plays, like the rhythm, the open string kind of licks, like the chord, like very advanced guitar shit applied to a fretless instrument, and it's I don't know anyone who does that besides
Nutty.
It's ugh.
Nutty.
Yeah. Also, Reresh is really fucking good too.
Oh, man. Hey, the only thing I actually wrote down during that was like at the beginning of the clip when they had the da 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 and the ostinato figure when the drum fill matched it just after like a bunch of space happened and matched him with a crashing straight into moment based writing.
Yeah, that's a really good album.
What's the name of the album again?
Gamak.
Oh, I feel like I heard that album. Why am I so stupid? I can't remember.
I mean, they all kind of. Last thing we're gonna play is just some Instagram clips. His Instagram is really cool.
I can vouch. I'm not a guitar player. I follow him on Instagram. He's nasty.
He's nasty. I think it's refreshing because I mean I follow a lot of guitar players, but there's especially in the guitar world and probably keyboards I'm sure as well. I'm sure, but there's such like the influencer kind of thing where it's just like, hey, today guys, we're checking out the blah 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 and da, da, da.
So, as a heads up, it's much worse with piano.
I imagine
much worse.
I would imagine. Although guitar
you can
guys
see-
are probably douchier.
Yes, keyboard players are cringier. Piano players are cringier.
That's real. But he's I hate like I sound stupid, but I'm like he really seems like a real guy. Like, yeah, but it's that kind of thing. Where it's like he'll just. I mean, he's a professor at Berkeley now, and like
Oh, tight.
obviously is done amazing things, and he'll just be like, just shedding this today, and he'll just kind of be like, I'm trying this out. yeah. And like he puts weird shit up too. He's like, I haven't figured this out yet, but it's kind of cool.
Fuck it, yeah.
So I'm just gonna play a couple short clips just to kind of give a range of all the shit he does.
Nice.
This first one is along those lines. He's experimenting with microtonal tapping.
Oh, no.
I mean,
Sound cool.
it's cool. It's stupid, but it's cool, right?
I'm glad that we're getting potato recording quality.
I
here.
know. I mean, I also kind of like that. He doesn't like go out of his way to make it sound good. It's just that here's him practicing a Chinese melody. Little bluesy ending.
Yeah. What's the name of that instrument that he's trying to emulate?
That one.
The-
Yeah, the thing with the
yeah.
That's that one instrument.
it's fucking nasty.
It's cool. It's cool.
How fast is that picking, man?
Yeah, his hand was blur. And then this was just so borderline stupid. Here he is jamming with like a gamelan group.
Oh boy, this could be.
Stupid little shit like that, but it's like it's very refreshing on your Instagram feed if you're
Yeah.
scrolling through, and then it's just like, okay, like,
Think of how much fun that guy must have, dude. Can
could you imagine?
you imagine like doing fun stuff with music?
No.
All right, that's fucking awesome.
Anyway, Dave Fiuzynski, Wikipedia him. Check, like he's on a lot of shit.
I would be
and,
binge
like,
listening to Screaming Headless Torsos
they're
tonight.
a fucking sweet band for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely check them out. But like all his projects are very cool.
That guy's really good, man. Man, I want to do fun stuff. Now I'm sad.
It's hard out here for a whatever we are.
Losers?
Yeah. I guess
What do you mean?
Yeah, that was the word I was thinking.
Okay.
Okay.
It's time for the last one of today. We're talking about my dude, Gyorgy Ligeti.
You know what I always say? Fine. Make her wetty and then Ligeti.
This has been Music Section of Our Die. Our podcast is now canceled. I am.
Come on, bitches love contemporary classical pickup lines.
Yeah, that's fucking true. Fucking true. It works for me every time.
like, no, I got nothing.
Nothing cool.
Yeah.
We're talking about Ligeti. Ligeti is a composer of the 20th century and the 21st century.
Oh, I get it.
What? I don't get it. No. So he made it over the 21st century line just barely.
Oh, I thought you were making the reference to a particular movie.
Oh wow, that would have been way smarter than what I just did. You're funnier than me. So
Yeah, did you hear my make her wetty joke?
yeah. Ligeti is dope AF. He lived a long time.
Yeah, he did.
Well, okay, there's something about being a composer in the 20th century that makes you live a fucking long
Who
time.
just recently died like a month or two ago?
Babbitt?
No.
Not Babbitt?
Wasn't it?
I think it was Babbitt who died a couple months ago. Maybe not Babbitt. Someone like that.
But they were
Crumb?
like-
No, Crumb was like last year.
Anyway, they were like 97
Yeah.
or something.
Well, let's go through this. Copeland lived 99. This motherfucker, Ligeti, lived to 83. Fucking Bartok lived to like 90. What is it about being a composer of weird-ass, insane shit that makes you live forever?
Well,
What's up?
It's because no one likes your music, so you just stay home and you have a much higher survival rate when you don't leave your house.
Oh, and your odds of getting an STD are much lower. Anyway, Ligeti is a fairly unique composer among this time period for many reasons, but what I would say most of all is that he separates himself from his peers. Who are the big five of that era? Like the Babbitt. What's the name of those people again?
Oh, I know
You know
what
who I'm
you're talking.
talking? Babbitt, Crumb.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But yes,
So they're like the hyper avant-gardists. Ligeti can occupy that space and has, but he also has, I would say, a larger breadth of styles and languages that he can speak musically.
I think so. I think especially that era where a lot of composers were trying to distance themselves from
Everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
He had a firm foot in a lot of different worlds.
Yeah. So what I want to kind of do is I want to start out with one of his more tonal pieces, I guess you could call it. It's tonal. But this, again, kind of like our Gentle Giant, has its roots in hypertonality, hyperchromaticism, very late romantic, distant harmonies connected horizontally and vertically. And it's pretty cool. This is Arc-en-Ciel, one of his piano etudes. So this is one of my top 3 piano pieces of all time.
Oh, beautiful.
It's gorge.
As a quick aside,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird after all the microtonal shit. Like, that sounded
Hearing
off to me for like a good 20 seconds. I was just like,
Hearing a piano.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, I love this piece so much. Yeah, so you can hear the Ligeti stuff toward the, and actually the midsection of this piece, just even 30 seconds later, gets more towards the atonal side of it, but he uses the atonality as a bridge between the theme, the C major 7, E flat major 7, the basically the constant major 7s with voice leading in between. He uses the atonality, big loud statements to get back and forth between.
I really appreciate that too. I mean, I obviously say Schoenberg, coming up with that kind of shit. He has to fully invest and commit in that. But I feel like a lot of composers after him also kind of just fully committed, but really it's a tool.
Yes.
You know, and that's beautiful. And you put it very well. That's great. I love that. You know?
This is, again, I'm going to restate it for the record. This is top 3 piano pieces ever for me. It's possibly one of the most gorgeous pieces of classical music ever written.
It's beautiful, yeah.
And the performance, I don't know who you found. He's fucking tight.
It's actually a woman, Jake.
She's fucking tight.
So check your privilege.
Word. Who is it?
Katya Bunistov.
Okay, you're going to have to send me that link later. Cool.
Buniatishvili.
Zvili? Like Georgian?
Sure.
Is there an I at the end?
Yes.
She's from Georgia then. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
So
Georgia.
it's on my mind right now. But Ligeti is also famous for fucking up his mic constantly right now. Can we stop?
I'm trying.
Okay. Oh, my God. So Ligeti wrote a requiem. A requiem.
Oh, like Dear Evan Hansen?
Yes, like Dear Evan Hansen. Exactly like Dear Evan Hansen. I love that song. Oh my God. But requiem meaning in the spiritual sense, a large mass.
Yeah.
It's a.
That's what I did this morning.
So Ligeti wrote a requiem.
It's been a long episode.
It's been a long episode or two. So we're just gonna play it first, and then we're gonna talk about where it's been, what it's done, what it is, and how cool it is. Hit that fucking play button.
It's actually kind of hard to stop that because
I know.
It's so
It's
entrancing.
entrancing.
Yeah.
For sure. Ligeti, as a composer, I would say, is probably, if not like the best, at least my favorite textural composer.
Yeah, I don't know how you write that.
I don't
How do you
either.
come up with that? Like,
I'm trying to figure out, or I should have looked this up at any point in my life, but like Xenakis and Ligeti and how they intersected.
I've never heard of them intersecting, but
Oh, I mean, not, sorry, no.
like
Timeline.
Timeline. Oh,
Xenakis was before some of Ligeti stuff, right? Xenakis was like 40s?
yeah, but he.
Ligeti would have been like 20s at this point, in the 40s.
Yeah, but Zach's had a long career as well.
Yeah.
So, because he's an experimental composer.
Yeah, and then he'll live forever.
That is interesting, but
It's an interesting thing.
it must be an influence at the very like
somewhere. I enjoy Ligeti more because I like some tonality sometimes. Xenakis obviously is awesome, and Metastasis is great, and so is that other one that I forget the name of.
I like the one where it's like the German kid singing. It's all ring modded out.
Yeah,
that shit's cool.
that's so good. Also, I forget the name of that. So Ligeti's very good texturally, and this piece is obviously nothing but a giant soundscape.
It's reminds me of that YouTube video we watched earlier about the reality TV show. Who was that guy who does those?
Tantacruel, shout outs.
Shout out.
Badass YouTuber.
So obviously this piece is very famous for being in 2001,
2001.
A Space Odyssey.
Hence the joke that I didn't make.
Have. Yes. But it transcends that. Was the reification? Is that the
Yeah, that's the term, yeah.
That's the term he uses. Like something like Wagner in Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, right.
It's like
Valkyries,
every
yeah.
time you hear Valkyries, you kind of think of that movie now.
Mm-hmm.
This, I do think of that movie, but it's also just so. There's something about it that just so like it really enwraps you into it that I I'm like, oh, that's from Space Odyssey, but it's like, no, this is like deep.
I guess it's just like it's still, I guess, more of a unique thing than the Ride of the Valkyries would be.
Sure.
Sonically, at least to me, it would just grab my attention in more ways than Ride of the Valkyries will. Because Ride of the Valkyries, I hear the melody line, I hear the background, I hear those trilling violins up top, and then this is not enough to get me away from Apocalypse Now.
Sure.
Although I'm still pretty good at separating that kind of thing. But
I mean, yeah, but like it's still just like
it's always there.
This is probably one of the weirdest songs in the pop culture collective consciousness. Because like people know this piece.
It's the big stone thing.
Yeah,
man.
but it's like it's a fucking weird piece of music, dude.
And this, I think the Requiem in total is like 30 minutes long.
Oh wow!
And a lot of it is like this. So it's a tough listen.
I can sit there and listen to it. I
definitely have.
Oh man,
I got to buy the score, dude. I want to see that shit. How you write this?
I have no.
I've
clue.
I've seen the score, a little bit of it, and there's like a million vocal parts.
I was thinking about that too with like the performers. Like that must be a weird,
difficult,
weird day. We're like, oh yeah, I've got this new piece we're working on. You're just like, the fuck am I?
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I don't think this is aleatoric at all.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, if I'm trying to remember the score, so like there's no randomness or anything like that. This is notated over bars in time.
I believe it, yeah.
And it's like not, obviously it doesn't, that's not how it comes across.
Well, I mean, he's a little like John Cage and that kind of era, right? Where you still had to actually write everything out before,
So in that sense, like performing it must have been a nightmare. Writing it must have been a nightmare. The whole process. So, fucking hard respect. I don't know when this Requiem was written. I think it was like the 50s. But, boom! Fucking nasty. But, as I said earlier, Ligeti has a wide variety of styles. This dude wrote a lot of shit. He wrote an opera. He wrote exactly one opera, and he referred to it as an anti-opera.
Yeah, what is this opera about? Like, is there a plot, or is it just...
Oh, fuck if I know, dude.
Okay.
I didn't read that shit.
Just curious.
So, this is an anti-opera. Anti-opera was a thing for a while that was basically like operas that basically specifically tried to avoid the tropes and trends of opera. And this is him saying like, I'm going to do an anti-opera by writing weird-ass music, but with opera tropes. Right?
Very meta.
Very meta. And we're going to listen to Scene 2, 1, 2, 3, 5.
I love me some grunting. Here we go.
My sweetheart's heart, tells me first. For today, please, stop.
What?
Okay. You bet your sweet ass that's notated too. So you see what I mean by anti-opera though?
It's hard to talk about that.
But like specific reference to him doing opera tropes, which is, I guess this is more of a comedic opera than like a Verdi Force of Destiny thing.
I hope so. At least.
I mean, that's just my guess. This is called The Great Death, which is fucking weird, right? But maybe it's still a comedy, I hope. It's got to be.
Dark comedy.
Dark comedy, okay. So, I can't get over it. He's using not horror tropes, wow. He's using opera tropes, but with weird music, which is a reflection on the anti-opera, which was, trying to avoid all things cliche.
Right.
He's using the cliche in like a new, interesting way.
he's uncliché. Well, he's recliché. I don't.
We'll figure out your verb tenses later.
I find it interesting too the instrumental brief snippets that we get, and that remind me a lot of like a Hans Zimmer score or something. In a weird, like just that kind of like the stabs or something like that. But this obviously predates that by billion years. And I guess it might be a cliche thing too. I don't know, but to me it felt more like that than like opera.
Yep.
Yeah,
I believe it. And yeah, it's fucking cool. It's also fucking stupid.
yes.
The name of the piece is 1, 2, 3, 5, and that's how it gets counted off in the beginning by the lady.
Oh, is that where you two got their start for their song, Vertigo?
If you keep talking.
Uno, dos, tres, catorce.
I'm glad you kept going. That was great. Okay, we're moving on. Back to Ligeti's more textural side. I think that's probably his milieu, his fucking claim to fame.
Yes.
That's what Ligeti's known for, his textural writing. This piece that we're about to play has sounds that I don't get how you get out of an orchestra exactly. I've never seen the score. I don't know what instruments are in it. I'm guessing there's some weird fucking percussion shit that I don't understand. But take a listen to the first muted French horn cluster and the shimmering kind of thing that happens on top of it, because it's very interesting, and the whole piece is very cool. And it's one of those things, kind of like the Requiem, where somehow you just get sucked into its world, and you just like wide-eyed staring somewhere in your room while listening to this. It's kind of a strange time-bending event, at least for me.
hard to stop.
I know.
That. It's man.
You get transported to some weird headspace with that shit, man.
I mean, I assume this is obviously intentional, but like I get the 2001 choice. Like it's alien music. It really it like doesn't sound of this world.
But keeping in mind, this is like seems like your standard orchestra, man.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
What a fucking legend.
So like maybe like a bowed piece of metal on the
maybe
something like that.
Some of the later stuff you could tell were like the strings playing closer to the bridge or something like that, where you get all the squeaky overtones. But that first one I don't get. I was thinking it was like some weird aluminum foil trick or something
like that. Yeah, I don't know.
The sounds he got were so amazing. I kind of want to shout out a string quartet that was written much later by a guy named Leichenmann called Grand Torso. where it's very similar. It's just a string quartet, but the sounds you get are very uncomfortable.
Interesting. We'll check that out.
Yeah, it's
That's
very cool. But it's very much descended from this, which is not unsettling. It's almost the opposite of unsettling. I started really settling in, but like I couldn't tell where my mind was
that
going.
maybe is why I feel it's so alien, because it's like it's creepy and it's like dissonant and you're like uncomfortable, but it somehow feels okay.
Yeah, and I don't feel distant from it.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe that's what it's like getting abducted by alien. Like I don't know, they put you in a weird pod thing in their spaceship, and you're like, this is weird, but the drugs feel good. I don't know, like, but it's a weird mindset though. It really is.
It is.
You're like, I don't know. Ooh, it's beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful music,
And that's pretty much all I have to say about Ligeti. He's cool. He writes texturally. He writes with a sense of humor. He writes with an advanced sense of harmony as well. He's kind of one of the most well-rounded composers of that era.
I would agree.
As far as I think Ives is pretty well-rounded as well.
Oh, sure, yeah. Different kind of
Different
thing,
kind, for sure.
yeah,
Ives is weird as fuck. Yeah. No, like Ligeti's not. But we're going to leave you with, or we're going to leave this segment to this episode with a little bit of Ligeti's humor.
Still a little mad about this one.
I know. So I don't know if you've ever gotten ruthlessly trolled by a piece of music before.
Not this hard.
Not this hard. This one, the piece, the thing that makes it funny is this piece is actually really good. So this concept, this is musica ricercata, and the idea is like using just a couple of notes per movement. This one uses one,
Well,
and then
yeah.
it doesn't. And when you, I
mean,
played this for a friend who could read music, and the YouTube was scrolling across, and it jumps to the last page before the note happens, and they're like, no,
stop!
Ligeti, no!
I mean, make them wetty.
Don't play the damn fucking music, and we'll get out of this fucking topic for a sec.
Hate him.
I love
hate him
it.
so much.
But the important thing to note is that he made at least to me, a very compelling piece out of one note.
It really is. Like,
Just it's like a little melody. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah, oh yeah,
dun.
definitely. Like
the articulation.
It's so well done.
Yeah.
What's the rest of that like? Like, are they kind of the same?
They're the same vibe,
Vibe.
not obviously less silly.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little more serious. Most of it's pretty rhythmic.
I would imagine you'd have to be.
Yeah.
Unless,
So the rest of the 11 movements are quite similar.
Gotcha.
But I think they get longer too. As they go, they add more notes per movement.
Okay, interesting.
Not. I don't think they ever get past 6. I can't remember.
Okay.
But
That's still very okay. Gotcha.
yeah, it's pretty rad.
Well. What else can you say?
And then I think that's literally all I can say. My throat might be starting to hurt from talking about Ligeti so much. But just one of my favorite composers, and he's nasty.
So, what else you been listening to this week, Jake?
I listened to a lot of Gentle Giant and Ligeti.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. But actually today, I was driving home from my gig, and I turned on our local classical station, King FM, which sometimes is an exercise in torture, as they play the same, 8.
It is
pieces.
funny how, like, I mean, that's like every radio station.
Yeah.
But it's funny you've transcended to the classical guy of that.
I don't know how that happened.
don't know.
But later at night, the station becomes pretty good. Like one time I was driving home from like a salsa gig at 2:30 in the morning, and they were playing the entirety of Philip Glass's Akhenaten opera.
Okay, that's pretty so.
It was awesome. It was like 70 minutes long. It was
That's cool. That's cool.
great. It was very strange coupling with a night drive back from Olympia. Very strange.
That would be weird, yes.
Combination of stimuli. But on this drive home today, I heard this piece called Moments from a Peking Opera by Chinese-French composer Shigong Chen. And he's also, actually I think his timeline, he was the last composer to study with Messiaen.
Oh.
And he lived with Messiaen for 4 years.
They were doing a little
Oh, God.
little bird songs.
Wow. Kill yourself. So, I tried to not laugh. I tried. So, he's a modern composer. You could definitely hear in this piece a lot of Messiaen influence. And based on just this piece, I definitely want to go check out more of him.
Okay, cool.
It's a solo piano piece. It has a lot of Messiaen's like strange languages that he speaks. You know what I mean? Musically, obviously.
I think he spoke French, Jake.
Shut up. I hate you.
I can't.
You've lost all.
I've lost
You've
it.
lost your marbles.
Go on.
Yeah, he's like Messiaen's vocabulary is also very unique.
Well, I would say it's actually limited in its
Transposition,
transpositions.
God, we're stupid. No one gets that joke. So, Shigong Chen, I would say you can definitely hear it, but you can also hear some other influences in there. What they are, I don't know because I'm stupid, but it's really cool. Check out Moments from a Peking Opera by Shigong Chen.
Nice.
What do you got?
I hate myself. I've been listening to the most hipster bullshit I've ever heard of in my life.
Uh-oh.
The band name is Au revoir, Simone.
I've heard of them.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't think I've heard them.
It's their album that I've been listening to is Verses of Comfort, Assurance, and Salvation.
Dude. This is some
It's like three women, and they all play shitty keyboards. And apparently, they recorded this album in their manager's like shower because the acoustics were
I think I've seen
good.
that. I think I've seen that Pornhub
exactly
video.
right. I hate myself, but I like it. It's very. It's just very like simple. It's like those shitty like kind of like reedy tones you get on like old shitty Casios and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Like the oboe patch and shit.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that, and they just sing, and it's like that indie shit, and it's like I hate that. I hate that I like it, but I like it.
Okay.
So obviously a big recommendation, but no, it's really cool. I like it.
Okay.
Check them out. Check them out.
I'll check them out. Got any rants for us?
Well, we were going to argue about whether Layla is good or not. I don't know if I have it in me.
You don't have it in you?
Layla sucks.
No.
And I'm just going to say that.
It doesn't suck. It is bad. Okay, it sucks.
The
but
most out of tune guitar solos at the end.
I don't
That
makes
is-
it to minute 6 of that song. Come on.
Yeah, why is that outro even there?
I don't know. Why doesn't it just end on a fade out of the do-do-do-do-do-do? But like that chorus slaps. That chorus slaps.
You had a good example of something that works, but I hate the fucking downward transposition or key change into the
Yeah,
verb. Like,
that's awkward, uninspired, lazy, shitty.
oh, and the transition back to the chorus was just Layla. No.
No, it doesn't work, but it is hilarious. Because you're just... it's just one of those like in between keys kind of songs. So it's talking about it's really annoying to me. But like, it's like verses are in like C sharp minor or whatever, and the choruses are in D sharp minor. And like the transition, I don't never even what chord they're chilling on.
It resolves like it.
Yeah, it might be it might be a dom.
Something like that. Yeah.
Definitely not a sub.
It does not work.
No, and then but like they just land on that chord from nowhere, and then it's like,
Terrible. Terrible.
Does that chorus slap?
Eric Clapton is a hack. He's also like weirdly racist and anti-mask, vax.
Oh
and,
yeah, I
like,
forgot about that.
Yeah. So
Might as well go hang out with Ted Nugent at this point.
this is maybe a shout out. There's oh man, I'll post it on our Twitter after this. But I saw a really funny reading. This author who writes music articles for like Vice or something like that. I don't know, really funny. They did a reading of this piece he wrote about analyzing Eric Clapton's bookshelf from interviews.
This sounds awesome.
It's hilarious. I'll post it on our Twitter. So follow our Twitter.
Dude, our Twitter is
yeah.
lit at Music Sucks Cast. Mm-hmm. It's awesome. Also, this video is going to be posted on YouTube with a wonderful lighting error because our portable light here ran out of batteries. So we switched to my overhead, which I'm sure looks really good. Great. I want to do something, but I have to find the song. Can you let me use your phone for a second to Google? Because I don't remember the name of the song, and it's in a language I don't know.
Great.
And I want to play a time signature game with you guys.
Oh no, we're doing this.
Yeah. I don't know anything else to do.
I mean, we could just end it.
No. This song, plus the groove's really interesting. So I want to just play it up real fast, and I have to remember how exactly. Something like that. I don't fucking remember. Oh, I found it. Holy shit. I'm awesome. So play this for me. I don't know how the fuck I remembered that. So we're going to play a time signature game. This is a song I found on the Spotify India charts a long time ago, like last year. And I was just like, man, this groove slaps ass. And it took me a little bit to figure out how exactly I feel it, but I feel it and it feels good. And I felt like you felt it a different way than I did.
Probably.
I feel like that happens to us a lot. So we're going to have you guys involved in this discussion.
Let us know in the comments.
Like and subscribe. Hit the bell.
चले जब तू लटक मटक लौंडों के दिल पटक पटक सांसें जाए अटक अटक आता माझी सटक सटक बम तेरा गुदे खाए कमर पे तेरी बटरफ्लाई बॉडी तेरी मक्खन जैसे खाने में बस तू बटर खाए कम ऑन बेबी किक इट काटू तेरी टिकट टिकट खेलता नहीं क्रिकेट विकेट पर ले लूं तेरी विकेट विकेट
বড় লোকের বেটি লো লম্বা লম্বা চুল এমন মাথায় বেঁধে দেব লাল গেন্দা
Wind the body
বড় লোকের বেটি লো লম্বা লম্বা
I think I feel it that way.
Which way?
That you just did the
Well, that's one, yeah.
yeah. Wait, sorry. What's the question then?
Oh, how do you feel it? I was just saying that was cool. When look at there, whatever
yeah.
the words are. How do you feel it, bro? What's your pulse? What's your divisions?
I'm hearing
subdivisions?
just tick it.
So like 6/4 kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. So.
Okay.
I feel like last time we talked, you heard it in 12. Like, dun, 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 dun,
Well, that
dun,
was-
dun, dun, dun,
To be fair,
dun,
that was a headphone,
dun,
so
dun.
maybe I was missing
Oh.
some info.
I see. Always listen to headphones. Makes your life much better unless you're listening to weird prog from the 70s, which pans your tremolo. Actually, the Beatles had some very questionable panning decisions too.
You know, man, they broke ground though.
Sure.
It's better than the fucking like all that jazz we listened to, where like all the reverb was in
Oh
one
my!
ear.
Was that Dolphy?
Yeah,
That was horrid. That was possibly the worst production
that was
decision
really
I've ever
weird.
heard.
That was really weird.
But I'm running out of stamina here because I feel like this is the longest episode we've ever
We've
done.
been going for a while. A lot of good music though.
A lot of good music. This
Yeah.
was a very fun episode to do. And hopefully you guys think so too. Please follow us, subscribe to us on whatever fucking shit you listen to podcasts on, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify. Leave reviews for us, subscribe to our YouTube. Follow, most importantly, follow our Twitter because we're going to make that shit lit. @MusicSucksCast. My name's Jake.
I'm Matt.
This is Music Sucks and I Want to Die. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Hey Jake,
What?
what do Eric Clapton and a cup of coffee have in common?
What?
They're both better with cream.
This podcast is
Hey
canceled?
Jake,
No, what? Now.
what's the difference between a baby and a bag of cocaine? Eric Clapton would never let a bag of cocaine fall out a window.
That was all right. All right.
Good night.